Hello guys, here with a new video for the channel. I hope you like it, and if you like it, don't forget to leave your powerful like Supreme God level, comment, and subscribe. Now without further ado, get comfortable. Everything would begin at the moment that Goku would activate the Kaioken against Hit. That's right, when Beerus realized that he wanted to use this technique for himself. Son Goku's power is dangerous. I must not let him increase his power, else he will be able to end my life. The battle of both warriors would continue normally. However, this time, Beerus was much more thoughtful, as was Champa. If the legendary assassin Hit gets much more power, I'm sure his techniques will be lethal to a god. The battle would end with the victory of Monaka. And even the king of everything would arrive to the battlefield when everyone returned to their respective universes and left the warriors on planet Earth. Beerus was much more thoughtful. Mr. Beerus, is something wrong with you? Since Goku activated that technique, I seem very thoughtful. Whis, I know this is going to be scum on my part, but I want to lock Goku in a dimension other than this one. What nonsense are you talking about, Mr. Beerus? Goku's the most powerful warrior of Universe 7. Why do I want to betray him? The power that Goku demonstrated is incredible. If he manages to completely dominate that technique and increase his power, he's capable of defeating me. But Mr. Goku would never make an attempt on your life, Mr. Beerus, so don't worry. No, Whis, you are my angel, and you must do what I tell you. So, in the course of these 24 hours, we will lock Goku in the so-called time room. Whis, not liking the decision of his god, just nodded in an affirmation. However, at that moment, the god Champa would arrive at Beerus' planet. The hell do you want, Champa? Do you want my warriors to defeat you again? No, Beerus. This time I want you to help me seal the power of Hit or finish him off. His techniques are not lethal for us now, but with his time jump, he's able to escape. So you too. What do you mean, you two? Don't tell me you also plan to do the same with the Saiyan named Goku. That's right, Champa. I'm thinking of sending them to a dimension from which they can never come out, and with the power of the Whis Baculum, time will pass much faster, and they will die. And it seems like a great idea. I also want to send Hit to that dimension. Both gods would begin to plan everything they would to do to get rid of both subjects, and the perfect opportunity was when Goku himself hired Hit to fight with his maximum power. The moment Goku was able to overcome his temporal technique again and hit him with a powerful attack, the gods Champa and Beerus would appear on the battlefield. Well, if it isn't Mr. Beerus and Mr. Champa, did our powers reach their planets? Beerus, without saying any words, would move at an incredible speed, leaving Goku out of combat with a single blow to be with his power very worn out. Hit, to realize this, tried to use the time jump, however it was too late. That's right, Champa at that moment was able to give him a big blow, leaving him badly injured and at that time would be equally out of combat. Both gods at a great speed would head towards the temple of Kami-sama. That is, at that moment, they threw both subjects into the room. Beerus and Champa, with their maximum power and destructive energy, covered the entire room of time. If anyone touches this layer of energy, they will be completely pulverized, so there's no way they can get Goku and Hit out of that place. Vados, it's your turn. Modify the time room. Vados at that moment, with his baculum, would only make that one day out will be 100 years inside. So both warriors would only be able to endure at most 1 day. At that moment, both gods would leave to their planet. Piccolo, who had witnessed everything that had happened, would quickly gather the Dragon Balls. However, he would wait until it gets dark so that nobody suspects anything. Meanwhile, in the time room, time flowing much faster, Goku and Hit had already awakened after a few hours with a severe headache. Ugh, my head hurts a lot. But what the hell happened? Your destroyer god knocked you out, and at that moment, Champa attacked me. I don't know what the hell this place is, and I feel like time's passing so fast. Those bastards. We're in the time room, but apparently they've modified it so that time passes even faster. At that moment, Piccolo's voice would sound in Goku's head. Goku, I've gathered the Dragon Balls. Try to endure. I thank you, Piccolo. At that moment of darkness, Piccolo would summon Shenron. Tell me, what is your wish? I wish that you make the immortal the subjects Goku and Jiren, who are locked in that time room. At that moment, Shenron's eyes would glow, signifying that the wish was granted. At that moment, all the wounds of Goku and Hit had disappeared. That's right, both had become immortal, only being able to die by the power of the destruction of a god. Goku, I've taken care of making you both immortal. Now you have all the time to train and be able to get out of that place. Thank you, Piccolo. Now you can leave everything in our hands. Goku and Hit at that moment would observe each other, and without wasting time, they both launched themselves against each other. That's right, both were giving each other excellent hits, but the one who benefited the most was Goku, because he had an infinite Zenkais. Since every time Hit hurt him seriously, he regenerated quickly, and even his power grew in an amazing way, even starting to defeat Hit in a very easy and simple way. However, in a moment of the battle, Hit was able to extend his time jump to 4 seconds. At that moment, Hit was able to meditate to be able to improve all his assassination techniques. Meanwhile, on the planet of Beerus, he was much more relieved. However, he didn't know that the King of Everything was about to organize a tournament in which all the universes would be eliminated. Returning to planet Earth, Trunks from the future had arrived. But this time, Vegeta would be the one who would pick him up, passing him some of his keys so that Trunks would wake up. Trunks, how are you feeling? Was it Majin Buu who left you in that condition? No, Father. A man with the same appearance of Goku was responsible, but unlike him, all his clothes were of black color. Trunks, without finish telling everything that had happened, a portal would be in the sky, so it was black. However, on this occasion, to Vegeta and not to trust Goku, Vegeta would access the Super Saiyan Blue, defeating Black Goku in a few moments, as he had not yet mastered the power of Goku. So in his timeline, Beerus was responsible for creating a time ring more, as he had locked Goku, Trunks, and Time being with his friends. Trunks would return to his time. But this time, Vegeta would accompany him, both realizing the presence of Zamasu. That's right, and not being with Black, he was easy to defeat. Now, the problem was his immortality, but by leaving him out of combat, they took him to the past and wanted to test if the words said by his god destroyer were true. At the moment, they threw Zamasu against the barrier, being disintegrated quickly. So that damn Beerus really betrayed Kakarot. I vowed to become powerful enough to finish off that simple cat. Vegeta in the same way would continue with a rigorous training in the gravity machine. After a few months, Beerus and the God Champ had completely forgotten everything that had happened. However, Beerus, taking a short nap, was finally able to observe in his dream as Nozaru was destroying his entire universe and finally ended his life. What the hell is this? It can't be what I'm thinking. Beerus at that moment would go to the Oracle Fish to ask him about his destiny. Oracle Fish, I want you to tell me when I will be defeated by whom.
You God Beerus will be defeated sooner than expected, and it will be by purebred Saiyan.
At that moment, Beerus' whole body felt an incredible shiver, knowing that the only being capable of defeating him would be Goku. However, he was not sure, since all that time, Goku must have died along with him. No, this is just a simple mistake, but I'll still train to increase my powers. Beerus, together with Whis, would begin to train to increase the power of their destroyer god. Returned to the time room, some months had already passed. However, at that time of increasing both their powers, they were still not able to eliminate the seal that both gods had placed on them. Goku, for his part, in all this time had been able to reach the Super Saiyan Blue Phase 3, controlling the energy drain to 100%, while Hit had managed to improve all his killing techniques, so both warriors were becoming killing machines. Hit, it's been thousands of years in this place, but we still can't get out. Do you think we'll make it someday? Hit, annoyed at that moment, would deliver a powerful blow to Goku, which would send him flying, and without wasting any time, he'd begin to beat him up by catching Goku off guard. Of course we'll get out of this miserable place. I'm not going to stay here forever, and I want to end Champa's life. Goku, much more excited, knowing that between the two of them, they would be able to get out, would begin to train again. However, this time Goku's power didn't grow as before, but after hundreds of years, Goku's tail had grown again. And this time Goku was the one who created an artificial moon. At the moment of transforming into Ozaru, he would start attacking Hit. However, Hit was much faster, and some months had passed until Goku was able to dominate his whole Ozaru state. This time his fur was turning into a blue color. But what's happening to Goku? Is it bad? Goku, at that moment of a big explosion in all that place, he would appear with a new transformation. That's right, Goku had accessed the Super Saiyan Blue Phase 4, and the power that overflowed was overwhelming. I don't know how I was able to obtain all this power, but I wish to push my limits. You're right, because if we end the lives of both gods, the angels and even the beings that arrived at the end of the tournament will turn against us. But we'll be extremely powerful warriors that even those guys won't be able to defeat us. Goku and Hit at that moment would begin to train their new powers, and Hit this time again was overcome by the power of Goku abysmally. At that time, collisions all over the place were being unleashed. So it is, while Hit gave 3 hits to Goku, was able to give 109 hits, being Hit always leaving much more injured than Goku, and after some time of battle, both decided to train separately, as they wanted to improve each of their skills. Meanwhile, as did mention, Vegeta was very thoughtful. I know that Kakarot's insect had died in that place, so when it comes out, I won't let its power leave me so far behind. I plan to become very powerful. The Prince of the Saiyans was undergoing rigorous training to be able to surpass Goku and even defeat Beerus. Goku and Hit were training to be able to take revenge on their gods, but they were not the only ones, since Vegeta was also undergoing a rigorous training to be able to not stay behind Kakarot. And not only him, even Gohan had resumed his training, knowing that the god Beerus had betrayed his father. I know that right now it's impossible for me to end the life of that wretch, but I swear I'll make him repent. That's right, Gohan had also started a rigorous training, which Piccolo had joined. Gohan, I'll join you. Can't believe that Beerus betrayed Goku after we won the tournament against Universe 6 thanks to him. Mr. Piccolo, I can promise you that I'll humiliate that damn cat in the worst way possible. I'll make him beg for his miserable life. So some of the warriors wanted to end the life of the god Beerus, while it was the opposite with the god Champa, which had finished with the legendary assassin. So some of the gangsters of Universe 6 could do their thing, however a strong concern was tormenting Vados, which knew that something very bad was about to happen. However, something much worse was about to happen, because when Beerus created another time ring, a new black from another timeline had reappeared, but this time a much greater power, which they had already defeated. Mr. Champa, we better train for the tournament that Zeno-sama warned us about, or just train because something very bad's about to happen. Vados, don't bother, there's nothing to worry about. I'm sure nothing will happen. But Mr. Champa, Vados, I've told you to be quiet. I'll go to sleep. Champa would go to his palace to sleep for a few years. In an alternate future, Trunks was fleeing from a very similar being to Goku, who had destroyed everything around him, leaving Trunks on the verge of death. Trunks, you have no way out. You better give up your life so you won't suffer any longer. I won't die without a fight. Sometime later, Trunks was able to return to the past. However, this had cost the life of his mother Bulma, so that Trunks was able to escape. At the time of reaching the past, everything would occur normally. The only difference to know was that when Black would arrive, Vegeta would be in charge of facing him, leaving him on the verge of death, but the time ring would save him. That damn Saiyan has an amazing power. He was able to beat me up without even transforming. Trunks would explain everything that happened in the future, and those who would go to this time would be Gohan, Vegeta, and Trunks, which, at the time of arrival, Black would appear in front of them, and without trusting, he had passed to the Super Saiyan Rose. With this power, I'll finish you dirty mortals. Meanwhile, in the time room, Goku and Hit had already mastered 100% of their techniques. Even Goku was able to access the Super Saiyan Blue 4 with a Kaioken increased to 500 times, and didn't suffer any wear on his body. That's right, this time had mastered the Kaioken to 100%, making it has no weak points, while Hit had achieved something unreal. That's right, among all his techniques, the most lethal was the time jump, because this time he was able to stop for about 2 minutes, which was enough time to end the life of any god or warrior. But he still lacked to be at the level of an angel. However, they didn't lack so much since Goku and Hit were at 97% of the power of an angel, and they didn't know it.
Hit, now that we've started training together again, we need to have combat experience as well so we don't fall into those bastards.
I agree with you, Son Goku. You don't know how much I look forward to the day when those bastards will fall on their knees in front of us.
The day's very near, but we must prepare ourselves much more, since that dwarf, even though he does not fight, if even the gods fear him, he must have great power.
Meanwhile, in a very distant place, in that dimension, a beautiful angel, which was also sealed, would be able to feel a tiny key.
What is impossible? In this place, there's no one else but me. Or has anyone else been sealed?
Mikoshin, with some difficulty, would begin to cross some of the similar dimensions because despite being in different dimensions, the dimensional space in which both had been sent was the same. After a few weeks, Mikoshin was able to appear in front of both subjects, which would be surprised to realize that his power was comparable to a guardian angel and continued to increase. Meanwhile, returning to the future, Vegeta in Super Saiyan Blue was able to give a beating to Black, while Gohan finally was able to neutralize Zamasu. Black, after that great beating, had been able to obtain a powerful Zenkai, with which he was able to equal Vegeta, having both a very even battle. However, at the moment, the laughter of the Prince of the Saiyans would resound throughout the place. Ha 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 ha! So that's the power of a copy of a Kakarot's power? No matter what you do, I'll finish you to be able to defeat the real one.
What the hell are you saying? Are you implying that you have much more power?
That's right. I was just using the same power as you so as not to make this battle boring. But you haven't managed to give me an efficient blow, so now I'll finish you off. Black wouldn't believe what Vegeta was telling him, and at that precise moment, Black would launch an attack. However, at that moment, a purple aura had made a Black retreat, and an amazing power was overflowing from Vegeta's body, which would surprise both of them. Vegeta's power seemed to have no limits. Even the whole Universe 7 had begun to tremble from all the power that Mr. Vegeta was releasing.
So, Mr. Vegeta's also been training. It seems that he doesn't like that bastard betrayed my father either.
At that moment, from a big explosion caused the whole place, Vegeta could be observed, leaving everyone surprised to observe the Prince of the Saiyans with the color of his purple hair very similar to the aura of destruction. Black's body at that moment would begin to feel a sense of terror of which Vegeta had noticed. Are you afraid? I didn't know that a cheap copy like you was capable of experiencing fear. Vegeta at that moment, at an incredible speed, began to beat up Black, who was not able to do anything against the Prince of the Saiyans. At that moment, Zamasu was able to get rid of Gohan's blows standing in front of Black. No matter what you do, I'm immortal, so you don't stand a chance against us. At this moment, I'll show you how even immortal beings like you are capable of dying. Vegeta at that moment would stretch one of his hands, throwing a tiny sphere of energy, with which he would disintegrate Zamasu. At this moment, Black would be invaded by terror trying to escape. However, it was too late since the Prince of the Saiyans, with much greater speed, would reach him, starting to give him a beating, which Black was no longer able to receive Zenkai's since Vegeta was not allowing him to recover. Sometime later, Vegeta would charge a large sphere of energy. With this, you won't be part of anything. This is Super Vegeta's attack. At that moment, a great power came out of the hand of Vegeta, which would make Black disappear. Vegeta would approach Gohan with the intention of making a blow. However, great was his surprise when he realized that Gohan was able to dodge his blow. Wow, thought your guard was down. Keep training, we should both be able to finish off that damn Beerus.
Of course he can, Mr. Vegeta. I still didn't use all my power.
So, you have much more power. If what Black said's correct, in this place there are no destructive gods, so I want to see your maximum power.
Alright, Mr. Vegeta.
Gohan at that moment would begin to increase his power to the maximum, making the entire planet Earth tremble, and even planets around him would be destroyed. Vegeta at that moment would form a barrier for Trunks, since the pressure would be able to end his life. After a few minutes, we could observe Gohan in his new transformation.
This is my new transformation. I had called it Beast Mode.
At that moment, Vegeta would ask what was the reason for the name of the transformation. However, Gohan's first fist had sent him flying all over planet Earth. Gohan, without finishing his attack there, would fly at a great speed, giving him some excellent blows. Vegeta at that moment would react, being able to connect with a strong kick, but to his surprise, Gohan had been able to stop it. Damn insect, your power has grown in an amazing way. But that won't be enough to defeat me.
Your power has also increased a lot, Mr. Vegeta, but I won't give up so easily.
The power of both Saiyans was becoming very even. However, Gohan's power would begin to decrease little by little, which Vegeta would take advantage of to begin to give him some excellent blows, which with the passing of time were damaging Gohan's physique in an amazing way, as Vegeta possessed destructive energy. After a last exchange of blows, Vegeta would win the victory and return to his timeline normally. Meanwhile, in the time room, Mikoshin was watching them very carefully, but at the moment, Goku was able to feel the presence of someone else stopping the battle. Haha, what's wrong with Goku? Can't keep up with me? Goku would communicate telepathically with it.
There's someone else in this place. We don't know if he's an enemy or a friend.
However, at that moment, the communication would be interrupted by Mikoshin.
I can see that you have a great power, and also one of you has a much higher perception to feel the ki of others.
At that moment, Goku and Hit were astonished to realize that this woman had been able to interrupt their mental communication.
Who are you? And why don't you show yourself?
At that moment, Mikoshin would show herself to both warriors, but with her, an astonishing pressure would appear. But it was not enough to make both warriors fall to their knees.
Wow, this is amazing! With this pressure, I can even bring a guardian angel to his knees.
Mikoshin at that moment launched herself into the attack, giving excellent blows to both of them, which, despite not being subdued by the pressure, their speed had slowed down incredibly.
Ouch! That hit me too much. But let's see how you like this!
Hit at that moment launched himself into the attack, activated his time jump, improved to 2 minutes and 32 seconds. However, his astonishment was much more when he realized how Mikoshin could even move through space-time.
My power goes much further than your time jumping, so you won't be able to do anything against me if that's your best technique.
Goku at that moment would access the Super Saiyan Blue 4, combining it with Kaioken increased to 500 times, with which he would have a very even battle against Mikoshin, which was only at 20% of her full power. While they exchanged blows, Mikoshin would think,
I must end this battle quickly and explain to them that I have no bad intentions, that the three of us could join forces and get out of this place.
Mikoshin would take the battle much more seriously, but not being able to access more than 20% of her power would be a little complicated.
Hell, I know you won't die. Receive this! Angelic Rain!
At that moment, multiple energy arrows would go through all of Goku's body, which would fall to the ground and return to his base state. Mikoshin would quickly teleport to her, and in the same way, he would leave him out of combat. At that moment, he would hold both of them and take them to their respective beds to rest and recover all their powers.
With the power of these two warriors, we won't be able to get out of this place. I want to take revenge on Daishenkin. I don't know about who, but these seals can only be created by an angel or the high priest. The beginning of our revenge begins.
The beautiful woman named Mikoshin had made both warriors recover, and it even helped them increase their battle level. Mikoshin would leave the room, starting to train a little after millions of years.
After millions of years, I've again the hope to get out of this place, since with only 20% of all my power, I'm not able to do anything.
Meanwhile, outside the dimension, Vegeta and Gohan had decided to train together, since it had a teammate that they would have better results. However, at that moment, Piccolo also wanted to train with the both of them. I also want to train with you and avenge Son Goku. We need more powerful warriors, not simple scum like you. Vegeta, how about we fight? If you can beat me, I'll admit I'm a worm. I think that's great, but to give you a chance against me, I'll give you a little advantage. I'll use only one of my arms and I'll use the Super Saiyan Blue. Shouldn't have trusted me like that, Vegeta. Piccolo at that moment would take off his clothes, which would always make him have less speed. At that moment, he would go towards Vegeta. Both would begin to exchange blows at an incredible speed. However, one would clearly observe the superiority of Vegeta, which seemed to be just playing with Piccolo. Is that all? I won't even have to use the Super Saiyan Blue. Piccolo at that moment would give a big smile and begin to increase his power to the maximum, making the entire Universe 7 shudder with such overwhelming power. At that moment, a large orange light could be seen, Piccolo in his new transformation, which would leave everyone very surprised.
What the hell? How have you been able to get all that power? Like you, Vegeta, I've been training too. Let's see what you think of this.
Piccolo at that moment of a strong blow would make Vegeta fall to the ground. Very sore from the blow that Piccolo had given him, Vegeta, furious, would transform into Super Saiyan, beginning to exchange blows with Piccolo, but this time, the difference was abysmal, since Piccolo was just playing with the Prince of the Saiyans.
What's wrong, Vegeta? Is that all the power you've gained this time? Damn insect, don't underestimate me.
Vegeta at that moment would access Super Saiyan Blue, beginning to exchange blows with Piccolo. But to everyone's surprise, Piccolo was able to face the Prince of the Saiyans. If Gohan was watching the battle, would be very astonished.
Piccolo's powers increased in an amazing way. I can't believe it.
Vegeta and Piccolo would continue exchanging blows, however their powers are so great that they would even reach Beerus' planet, who was very astonished by the power they gave off.
Hey Whis, is that Vegeta's power? What kind of training had he had?
I have no idea, Mr. Beerus, but his power is incredible, and the one that surprises me the most is how Mr. Piccolo has achieved God status.
What Whis said would leave Beerus even more surprised. He was realizing that all the warriors of planet Earth were achieving great powers.
Whis, do you think it'd be a good idea to wipe them all out, so that they don't generate problems in the future?
I have no idea, Mr. Beerus, because if the words of the king of everything Zeno-sama were true, we'll need powerful warriors for the next tournament.
You're right, Whis. I hadn't thought of that. But how did they get those powers?
Returned to the battlefield, we could see both warriors very wounded. However, the most injured was Vegeta, who was furious to realize that he had the same power as an Namekian. At that very moment, both again had launched an attack. Meanwhile, in the dimension of emptiness, Goku and Hit had already awakened. Feeling a very strange power in their bodies, at the time of leaving, both were amazed to realize how that a woman was training in a very different way to which they were generally accustomed.
Hit, can you see anything?
Not at all, Goku. That woman's power is incredible. But if she didn't want to kill us, why did she attack us like that?
For that, I have the ideal answer.
At that moment, Mikoshi appeared in front of both warriors, who were on guard for any danger.
Don't worry, I won't do anything bad to you, since you are the hope for the multiverse, and even for us to get out of this place.
What do you mean by that? But first of all, how were you able to enter our dimension?
Okay, I will introduce myself. My name is Mikoshi, and I am the Supreme Priestess. That is to say, I'm the mother of all the angels.
At that moment, Goku and Hit were astonished by what Mikoshi said.
But how is this possible for the Mother of Angels to be locked up in a place like this? All this is because my power surpassed by tens of times the power of Daishenkin, and he informed the king of all, Zeno-sama, who wanted to put me against him, and for that reason, I was stripped of my power and locked up in this place.
I have no idea who Daishenkin will be, but I'm sure that we'll be able to overcome his power and get out of this place.
I don't doubt that, but they are having a bad training, because that way, they won't be able to master their ki completely like an angel does.
Then how about training us?
You shouldn't ask me, since that's why I came to this place. That's right, I'm going to train you, and I want to take revenge on Daishenkin.
We want to take revenge on our destroyer gods for locking us up in this miserable place.
So what do you say we start right now?
Without Goku or Hit being able to answer anything, hundreds of lightning bolts would fall on them, which they would be able to dodge some, however, they'd be severely injured.
In my training, you should always keep your guard up, because there are beings that take advantage of the slightest opportunity.
I understand, but I have a question. How are you stripped of your power?
When Zeno-sama found out about my supposed betrayal, he sealed my power with a magical artifact from the realm of the whole, and to recover it, we must destroy it.
Don't worry. We promise to help you recover all your power and be able to take revenge on Daishenkin.
I thank you very much for this. So let's continue with the training.
Mikoshi and both warriors will begin with their furtive training, which was not easy at all. Meanwhile, outside the dimension, Piccolo and Vegeta were at their limit. However, Piccolo, from one moment to another, was able to hit Vegeta, who, furious, had accessed the Ultra Ego. At At that moment, Gohan quickly accessed his beast mode, putting him in front of Vegeta.
Mr. Vegeta, don't forget that all this is a training. There should be no casualties of training. This is for our father.
Angry Vegeta would turn to his base state, allowing Piccolo to train with them.
Damn worm, you're worthy to train with us. You have incredible power. You'll be able to help great against in the battle that's coming up. I haven't been training for nothing. I know that my power has increased greatly, but I need a companion.
After a few days, we could see how the three warriors were having a battle in their base states so as not to attract the attention of Beerus, while the trio of warriors were fighting, an even greater power was approaching the planet Earth, because Beerus was not satisfied with all the power that the Z warriors were getting.
Whis, I also want to train because if all those worms unite, they'll be able to defeat me, because I know they won't forgive me for what we did to Goku.
I understand, Mr. Beerus. I will gladly train you again.
Beerus and Whis had begun their training in the same way. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Everything, the great Zeno-sama was very bored, so he'd called Daishinkan.
Daishinkan, I want to do something. Do you think if we make a tournament like the one in Universe 6 and 7, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Let's do it. As you order, Zeno-sama. At this moment, I'll inform the god Beerus from Universe 7 to face 3 warriors from Universe 9. Understood, Daishinkan.
Daishinkan would leave for both universes, the decision taken by the King of Everything.
What the hell are we gonna do, Whis? I don't know how to inform the others about this.
Mr. Beerus will have to do it, because if we refuse, I'm sure that the great Zeno-sama would destroy the whole Universe 7. Beerus and Whis would quickly go to planet Earth to inform them everything that happened to the Z warriors. At the moment they arrived, they could see the look full of hatred towards both deities, but especially towards Beerus.
Beerus, what do you want on planet Earth? I'm the god of destruction. I should not ask permission to which planet I'm going to.
Since you betrayed my father, you're no longer welcome in this place. I know you're upset, but what we have come to inform you is the uttermost importance.
The trio of warriors accepted to listen to what both deities had said, being surprised that the king of all Zeno-sama wanted a tournament.
But what'll happen if we lose?
I don't know, Mr. Vegeta, but I assure you that it won't be good.
Meanwhile, in the dimension, it had already been 6 years since they had started training with Mikoshi, and this time they had achieved wonderful results. That's right, this time Goku had been able to master the perfect Ultra Instinct, even combining them with their other variants, while Hit had achieved an incredible power, but his time jump had reached the incredible 6 minutes, and with his techniques, this would be even very harmful to Daishinkan-sama.
With the power they possess now, I think it's time to get out of this place.
That's right, Mikoshi. We're ready to finish off all those bastards. Goku and Hit began to increase their power to the maximum, managing to create some space-time fissures. At that moment, both increased their power much more, destroying the seal that both angels had placed in the time room. At that moment, a portal would be created in the whole planet Earth, which would tremble strongly, calling the attention of Beerus and Whis, who were still explaining everything that had happened. All that moment that Goku Hit Mikoshi would leave the place, rumblings all over the place began. Even nearby planets were destroyed. Beerus and Whis felt an amazing pressure. Heading quickly to where they felt this incredible power, however, at the time of arrival, both deities were very surprised to observe Goku and Hit, while Whis would be terrified to observe the Supreme Priestess.
But Mother, how is it possible that she came out of that dimension? So, all my children knew what had happened to me, and none of them were able to do anything for me?
Mr. Beerus, you don't know how much I dreamed about this day. At that moment, Beerus would quickly communicate with Champa.
Champa, come immediately. Both guys have destroyed the Divine Seal. It'll be better to face them now. It must be weak. Understood, brother. At this moment, I'm headed towards your location.
Vados and Champa, at an astonishing speed, began to head towards planet Earth. Meanwhile, Daishinkan had also been able to sense the power of Mikoshi, who had a very serious look on his face.
Is this Mikoshi's power? This can't be happening, but I don't have to worry since his power is still sealed.
Returning to planet Earth, the trio of warriors had arrived to the temple where they were, and they were surprised to see Goku after so long.
I knew you, Kakarot, wouldn't die. You're the most powerful Saiyan I've ever known.
Thank you for trusting me, Vegeta, but now I'll finish with this wretch. We're only waiting for Champa to arrive.
Did these bastards read my mind? Why won't my body stop shaking?
At that moment, Champion Vados would arrive as well. She was surprised to see her mother.
Champa, after a long time I'll finish you, but I won't use the time jump because it won't be necessary for someone like you.
At that precise moment, the four warriors began to increase their power to the maximum, beginning to destroy everything around them. That's right, this time the gods had planned to finish with them in a trace. The destruction of all the planets around them was incredible, since lightning, tornadoes, and even lightning was capable of pulverizing any being or destroying everything around them. Hit and Goku were ready to finish with the life of both gods, who, without caring anything, decided to seal them in the time room. At the moment, Goku and Hit would increase their power to the maximum, which would begin to cause havoc. But before it expands to the 12 universes, and would be perceived by Daishinkan, Mikoshin would use a great part of his power to seal all the Universe 7.
Now that they'll be able to fight without any difficulty, since no being will be able to sense their powers outside of Universe 7.
At that moment, Whis was very surprised to know that the Supreme Priestess was together with Goku and Vegeta. At that moment, the four warriors had launched an attack. That's right, however, at the moment of colliding their fists, great collisions were created. But the most wounded in each exchange of blows were both gods, who did not believe the incredible power that both warriors had obtained.
What's wrong, Champa? Is that all the power of a god of destruction? Damn you! I swear I'll finish you off.
At that moment, Hit would move at an incredible speed and hit Champa in the face, sending him flying to a planet in Universe 7, being completely destroyed by the impact. At the moment, Goku was in the Ultra Instinct in the same way, and had launched himself against Beerus, which was not able to do anything to defend himself. That's why the power of Goku had surpassed him by dozens of times. However, Beerus at that moment would increase a large part of all the power, which would make Goku back down.
Da monkey, I will not let you make fun of me. You're nothing compared to a candidate for Supreme God.
At the moment, Beerus would begin to increase his power to the maximum, which he was able to access a transformation, which would leave a little surprise to Goku due to the power he was hiding. After a great explosion of destructive energy, Beerus could be seen with his new combat form.
I hope you're ready, Son Goku. This time we'll not seal you. We'll finish you once and for all so you will not be a nuisance in the future. Kakarot, don't be confident. The power of that damn Beerus has increased in an incredible way.
Ha! Don't worry, Vegeta. Beerus' power is a mere child compared to my true power.
But in that moment, Beerus, at a surprising speed, had begun to destroy all the planets that were put in front of this with the body of Goku. That's right, Goku seemed to be suffering incredible damage. At the time, would be sent to fly to a planet, completely destroying it. But there would not end the attack of Beerus, because at that moment would throw a large sphere of energy hockey.
Die, you damned monkey. You should never have defied the gods. You're a simple scum.
In that instant, a great explosion would be created all over the place. But in the same way, all the hockey energy had been disintegrated, and in a purple vapor. That's right, the powerful hockey of Beerus had been destroyed. At that moment, an incredible power would be released from the body of Goku, which would be used to cause havoc throughout all the universes.
Beerus, I lowered my power to the minimum to receive some damage from you, but you haven't been able to cause me the slightest damage, you poor worm.
Goku in that moment, with a great blow, sent him to crash to planet Earth, which, despite the pain, would stand up and begin to fight. While on the side of Champa, everything was to his disadvantage, since in each exchange of blows, the legendary assassin was able to hurt him seriously, reaching the point of being on the ground and on the verge of death.
Champa, what are your last words? I always knew I should have killed you. You're the worst creation of the gods. The worst creation of the gods will end you. Don't you think it's ironic?
Hit in that instant with multiple blows in the vital points of Champa had finished with his life. However, at that moment, the powerful Mikoshin would throw a great ray of energy, which had completely disintegrated him.
If it is because of him you were locked in that place, they don't deserve to go to paradise or hell. They should disappear into nothingness. But, Mother, you can't intervene in the matter of mortals. Since I was betrayed by your father, I'm no longer considered to be the divine world, so those rules do not apply to me.
At that moment, Goku would likewise tire of humiliating Beerus, who, even due to all the damage, had returned to a normal state, with which he would begin to beg for his life.
Goku, Hit, I'm really sorry. I swear I'll leave the 12 universes, but don't end my life. I implore you, Goku.
You mustn't have thought now that you would betray us, since you begged you would not do it. But you won't give in, so now we'll finish you off.
Beerus, with his maximum speed, would begin to flee throughout the universe, as he did not want to die. However, all this was in vain, as Goku would not spare his life. That's right, Goku at that moment would increase a large part of his power, causing an incredible pressure all present.
Authorize Zeno-Zoru, Aradelia Beerus.
At that moment, all the pressure would fall on the body of Beerus. He was not able to continue. On the contrary, he was pulled to the ground as if an incredible gravity would pull him. At the moment, he was able to stand up, but with great difficulty, since the pressure did not allow him to move easily. Goku at that moment would stand in front of Beerus.
Being my friend, my master, you decided to betray me. Goodbye, Beerus.
Goku at that moment would stretch one of his hands, with which he would begin to disintegrate Beerus by using destructive energy. At the moment, Whis and Vados, being angels of the gods, would leave quickly to the kingdom of everything, but it would not matter, because throughout the universe, the voice of Mikoshin would resonate.
No matter where you leave, if you are on the side of Daishaken and the entire divine realm, I'll finish you all off.
Vados, together with Whis, would quickly arrive to the realm of the whole, informing everything to Daishaken-sama, who would be surprised to know that the powerful Mikoshin had returned to be part of the 12 universes.
This is bad. We must not allow it to recover its power, otherwise it'll be able to finish with all of us.
Meanwhile, on planet Earth, Goku, together with Hit, would explain everything to the Z Warriors, who would understand everything that had happened. At that moment, Vegeta would approach Goku.
Kakarot, I want to test your new power. What do you say we have a battle?
Vegeta, it wouldn't seem fair to me. I've trained for thousands of years.
Don't underestimate me, insect. I'm the Prince of the Saiyans. Watch this!
Vegeta at that moment began to access the Ultra Ego, releasing an incredible power. Even his power was greater than the power of Beerus that had been released, leaving very surprised Goku, not knowing what transformation was that.
What kind of training did you have? And what transformation is this?
Contemplates the power of the Ultra Ego, the power beyond destruction. I hope you're ready.
Vegeta in that moment, at an incredible speed, had directed a great blow to Goku, which despite being with the Ultra Instinct, had been able to graze his face. At the time, Goku with a great kick would send Vegeta to fly thousands of meters, and in the same way would begin with his great attack. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Everything, Daishaken, together with all the other gods and angels, were planning the perfect plan to finish with the three warriors once and for all, but without the presence of Zeno-sama.
But Daishaken-sama, why can't we ask for help from the king at all? We can't do that, because when he finds out that I betrayed Mikoshin, he'll be able to destroy everything in existence.
However, at that moment, Zeno-sama would come out, along with the Guardians.
I don't care that you betrayed that cursed woman. I've finally been able to fully awaken.
Awaken? Who are you?
How are you in Zeno-sama's body?
He's Zeno-sama, but it's his evil side, which doesn't act like a pathetic child. He's the real chosen one.
We must wipe out all the warriors of Universe 7, as I feel right now that they're fighting, they are comparable to the power of a god.
You're right, Zeno-sama, but how are we going to do it?
It'll be better to put an end to this right now, since I don't want to drag it out much longer.
Gods and angels, I wish that all you will form one being, and that you give me every drop of your power.
At that moment, all the gods and angels would opt for a second option, so that at the moment, a great pentagram would begin to fill with an incredible power. At the beginning of the power of the entire divine realm, all that power would begin to enter the body of Daishaken, which was increasing its power in an unreal way. That's right, at that instant, thousands of planets would be destroyed by all the universes. Even the power of Daishaken would be felt by all the Universe 7. And at that moment, Goku and Vegeta would stop their battle.
Our battle will have to wait again, since it seems that something much more powerful has appeared. That's the power of that jerk Daishaken, but apparently he's absorbed the power of all the other gods and angels.
Daishaken at that moment had been able to dominate all that incredible power. In a similar way, the King of Everything would begin to access his form of combat with the help of his guardians, so it is the three began to merge, beginning to create a super warrior which released an overwhelming power. After a great explosion throughout the universes could see Zeno-sama.
With his power and together with you, Daishaken, it'll be time to finish with everything that comes in front of us. That's right, Zeno-sama. It's time to finish with all those insects. At that moment, both warriors began to head towards the Universe 7 at an incredible speed, being so fast that even the space was distorted by the speed. Meanwhile, in Universe 7, all the warriors were planning their defense since they felt as two great powers were approaching towards them.
I plan to face Zeno-sama, since he's the most powerful being. You'll be able to face Daishaken. I'm counting on you.
Mikoshin, this time we'll protect you. We will always train together, but you've never known the limit of my power.
At that moment, a great roar would arrive to the planet Earth. At that moment, a great explosion would occur. That's right, the whole planet Earth had suffered a great damage. Mikoshin, with his great power, had been in charge of using a great part of his power to protect it.
Damn Mikoshin. I don't know how the hell you were able to get out of that damn dimension, but you would have stayed there. At least you wouldn't have died.
Right now, I'll show you who you were the one that was killed. Since I plan to finish with you with my own hands, I'll not leave any trace of you.
Mikoshin, with his anger, had launched against himself against Daishaken. At the moment that Zeno-sama was about to interfere in the battle, an amazing power would be felt all over the place. That's right, it was the power of Goku and Hit, which were taking their power to the limit. Goku at that moment would access the Super Saiyan 3, but all his hair was his silver color. At that moment, all would begin to fight the clash of their fists. It would be able to destroy everything around them. However, Gohan, Vegeta, and Piccolo would not be left behind. The trio of warriors would support Mikoshin, and at the moment, Daishaken would begin to overcome little by little. Meanwhile, with Goku and Hit, both warriors had a power comparable to Zeno-sama, which would be surprised of the power that both warriors possessed since it was unreal. At the moment, Zeno-sama would fall to the ground.
How the hell do you have all this power? You're mere mortals.
Despite being mere mortals, we will not allow beings who call themselves gods like you to kill us.
Goku and Hit at that moment would continue with their sneak attack, which in each exchange of blows began to defeat the incredible defense of Zeno-sama, which despite surpassing them in power level, did not have the knowledge in battle. At the moment, Hit would use his jump in time, not being enough to stop him, but to drastically reduce his speed.
Your time to die has come. Dragon's Fist!
Goku, with his maximum power, had created his most powerful technique, with which, at that moment, would completely pierce Zeno-sama, which would be completely destroyed. That's right, a Saiyan was able to finish with the king of all. Daishaken, at the time of realizing this, an incredible terror would begin to run through his whole body, which even made him lose his sanity of the battle, which all the warriors would take advantage of, throwing their most powerful combined attack, being able in this same way to end the lives of two of the most powerful beings in the universes and evil. Time after that great battle, Mikoshin would be named the new queen of everything, which would begin to purify the souls of the gods and angels, and at the time would create new planets throughout the universes.
We'll always be at your disposal, Mikoshin-sama. Thank you for everything.
Thanks to you, since you appeared, I was able to get out of that dimension, and now I'm the queen of everything.
That's right, Mikoshin had recovered her power, and at the moment of expelling it, she was able to destroy everything around her, becoming the most powerful queen of everything of all times, together with two warriors who protected her. Well guys, this is all for today's chapter. I hope you liked it and it was to your liking. Now don't forget to leave your powerful like Supreme God level, comment and subscribe. Now without further ado, see you in a new video. Until next time.